Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to episode 329 of Picks and Ponies with good friend and co-host of Bet and Booze and Mr. West Coast bias himself, Noah Maher. This is host Howard Kravitz of the HHH Racing Podcast. Thanks for joining us as we are going through four big stakes on Saturday at the great race place, Santa Anita, including the Robert B. Lewis 20-point Kentucky Derby prep as things are starting to get serious as the calendar turns to February. We are only just more than 3 months away from the Kentucky Derby. Noah, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I got to venture out a little bit, bet the Pegasus last weekend, but it's good to get back to the roots and head back to the great race place, like you said, this weekend.
There you go. Well, listen, they got actually some rain. They got the little the Pineapple Express or whatever the hell they call it. They got a little El Nino. They're gonna get some pretty heavy rain, but it does look like it's just going, as we're filming this on Wednesday night, ladies and gentlemen, it does look like it's going to rain mainly Thursday and then clear out Friday and Saturday. No, I'm expecting them to be on the turf, but it might not be firm turf on Saturday.
Yeah, there might be a little moisture in it. I actually looked earlier today. It looks like they're going to get a pretty good, decent amount of rain tomorrow. And then I think it's supposed to hold up until Sunday. So hopefully it does, and hopefully we keep those races on the turf.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to be talking here on the show, and again, we're going to be a little more brief than our normal show today. We're going to talk about races 4, 5, 8, and 9. No, they've got 4 stake races on Saturday. It's a real nice card. Real quick for everyone, make sure you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Look below the video player for our excellent Power Picks tip sheet. And by the way, we had some nice scores on Pegasus Day on that tip sheet. We've got a great website, hhhracingpodcast.com. And as Noah knows very well, we are on Instagram. Check us out, instagram.com/HHH Racing Podcast. Of course, you can follow me on X right there at H Kravitz, and on the bottom of the screen, my email, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Now, let's jump right in to the stake races on Saturday at Santa Anita. The first stake race we're going to look at, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, everyone, so bear with me. We're good. All right. Is race 4. Race 4 is the Megahertz. Grade 3, $100,000, fillies and mares, older fillies and mares, of course, on the turf. Field of 7. And no, I know I've got you by just a few years in age. Megahertz was a really, really, really good female turf horse with a wicked turn of foot. If you ever, I don't know if you're familiar with Megahertz, Noah, but if you have a chance, go to YouTube and check out some of Megahertz's races, because she closed like an absolute freight train, and she was like this tall. She was actually a small filly, but really powerful with a nasty closing kick. So that's who this that's what this race is named after. Anyway, got a field of 7. We do not have morning lines right now, ladies and gentlemen, as we are filming this. So we're going a little bit blind. I am pretty sure the morning line favorite will be in the number 7 closing remarks for Carla Gaines and JJ Hernandez. And I also realized, Noah, as we're filming this, that you did give us the picks. However, a little bit of a host fail on my part. I forgot to write down your picks on. So that's okay. We'll just do it in real time, which is totally fine. So let me bring up the banners. And originally it's not going to have Noah, but no, what are your top 3 picks in this race? And I'll put it up right now.
So in the Megahertz, I went 4-7-1.
4-7-1. All right. We'll have to do this for each race. Noah, sorry about that. And sorry for the
no worries.
There's our, what? Did you know my picks? Well, we got the same 3, but not in a different order. Let me take these banners off the screen and we'll bring up the, whoop, you want to do that? My bad. And I'll bring up the banners back again. There we go. Okay. And now I'll bring up the PPs. You are going to go with the number 4 horse, which I have in 3rd. You're going with Bella Bell. Now, Bella Bell is D'Amato, and everyone knows how good D'Amato is. But this horse is off quite a bit of layoff. Does get Flavian. I'm assuming that was part of your thinking here to pick this horse on top, despite the, year and 3-month layoff almost here.
Yeah, she has been off for quite a while. I think D'Amato always thought he had a lot here in Bella Bell. He even had the confidence to throw her in the QE2, which was a really nice race in fall of 2022. Of course, she's been off for a while. The fact that you do get Pratt after that long, after that long hiatus is a positive for me. And a little friend by the name of Timeform US tells me that this horse is going to be alone on the lead. And when I saw it, I think this is the first time I've ever seen it say no speed.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, you know more about that than me. But just the fact that if she is going to be in that position, I think she's even off that layoff, she's going to be pretty tough to beat in here.
If she's ready, Noah, I think she's dangerous. But this is quite the layoff. Now you are you're known as West Coast bias on the show for a reason. For people that have been living in a cave that don't know, you live. Well, you're of course a student at University of Kentucky, but your hometown is not too far outside of L.A. D'Amato's got a few in here though, or am I thinking of a different race here? Hold on a
Oh,
second.
he's always got a few.
Well, I don't actually. This he only has one. I apologize. I was thinking of
Oh,
another
he's
race.
he's got the 5 Oakhurst as
Oh, he
well.
does have Oakhurst.
Hmm.
He'll use Fresu also, and this one obviously is more recency. But Pratt's his main. You'd think Pratt would be his main go-to guy in these situations if it's a stake race.
Yeah, he is. Pratt's. He's in the summer. He'll go over to Saratoga, but when he comes back, yeah, he's definitely his first call.
So I wasn't sure if Bell Bell's gonna be ready. I mean, the work seemed to be fine. I'll see what the workout report looks like. I'm sure
Hmm.
D'Amato has this one ready, but that's a long layoff. Obviously, something happened. And in that
Hmm.
same idea of maybe, trying to pick horse that's gonna be more forwardly placed, Malfi has a 113 early time for him. Now, I find this weird. Either that's a typo or they don't think this horse is going to go to the lead because according to the early time form, this horse is going to have the lead while the 4 is 61. So I don't know. I have a feeling there's a mistake with the early with the time form pace chart. I don't know, but just I think something's off because that can't possibly be true. So based on the numbers here, I think Malfi's going to have the lead. Now, you and I have talked a little about Jonathan Thomas setting some
Hmm.
horses out west. He's only 1 for 6 at this meet. This one seems very logical. She's got speed from the inside. Last time she rated a little bit. Kimura's a very sharp guy. I've got a feeling this is the one that's going to be on the lead, or at least very close, Noah. You have this one third. This is my top choice.
Yeah, that's why I've got her in the top 3. In terms of the pace, with that 113, even if it is a typo, you know she's going to be close. Like you said about Jonathan Thomas, we've talked about this. I don't think he's really brought most of his best horses out to California, which is why I'm always a little skeptical when it comes to betting him. I will say that most of his crop so far in the meet, they've been kind of lower level claimers. This is probably one of his better horses that he's brought over, and she's got numbers that fit.
Yeah, she sure does. And I think the favorite's going to be number 7, who we're trying to beat. Look, we've seen this horse run many times. You got to love seeing, look at this now. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 2, grade 2, grade. I mean, she's danced every dance on the West Coast. I don't consider like a high class grade 1, grade 2 animal only because, Frank, let's face it, the West Coast filly turfers in general are just not nearly as good as the ones in Kentucky or on the East Coast. But as California goes, and she's got JJ. She's as honest as they come. She's going to make a run, but if there's not a lot of pace, she sort of needs that. She's a little bit off a layoff. She's 6. I'm going to try to beat her. I think she's going to be like 7-5. No, I think she's going to be very low. I don't think she has to win this race.
No, it's funny that you say that because my first note was she's danced every dance.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you say that. I agree with everything you said. In terms of where horses are going to be placed, she might be a little more tactical than a few in here. You never like the fact that Carla Gaines has been pretty cold to kind of start the meet. But in terms of closing remarks, she's one that's definitely fond of this mile here at Santa Anita.
Yeah, I mean, she can win. She's going to be the favorite. I'm going to use her. I've got her as a B as in boy right
I do
now. I
as
might
well.
even upgrade her to an A. It just depends. I don't know. I'm trying to go with a fresh face here with the 1 or 4. ideally. Let's go on to the fifth race. And now let me have your picks in the fifth race, and then we'll introduce the race itself, please.
Picks in the fifth in order are 615.
Okay. 615 for Noah. Let me go ahead and bring up. Let's see what Howard has. Oh, we both have the 6. So let's go on to the next. Again, we're not talking about a particular horizontal sequence, ladies and gentlemen. We're just talking about the stake races on this Saturday at Santa Anita for the Robert B. Lewis. Speaking of the Robert B. Lewis, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring it up on screen right now because that is the next race. No, this is always an exciting time of year because this is when the 3-year-olds really get cranked up and you see the sort of bigger guns come out. This is a Kentucky Derby points prep with 20 points to the winner, etc. But there's obviously a big situation going on right now in California with Bob Baffert that we have to talk about. But it's the Robert B. Lewis. It's grade 3, restricted 3-year-olds. They're going only 1 mile. Just want to mention that. $200,000. It's a field of 9. Baffert has 3 in this race. But Noah, in case people have been living in a cave, why don't you tell everyone what's going on with Bob Baffert and the points derby situation?
Well, I know there's always there's been a discrepancy the last couple of years whether owners want to end up switching their horse to a different trainer so that they can run in the Kentucky Derby. In terms of what's happened recently, I try not to pay too much attention to that, so I don't know a ton about it, but I know that Churchill still has not let Baffert run his horses at Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby. How long that will continue, I have no idea.
So I was sort of just going, I was just trying to bring up the fact. I didn't want to put you in a bad spot, but there's really no news other than most of the owners or the main owners of Baffert runners have decided not to switch their trainer. So basically, all those 3 horses that we see on the screen right now, and many others for that matter, in this case, Nysos, Coach Prime, and Wind Me Up, are not going to be eligible for the Kentucky Derby, which obviously changes things quite a bit. I'm not surprised. No, we could have a whole show. I'm sure there's people watching and listening right now that would love to comment in the live chat. Oh, screw Churchill Downs or F Baffert. I don't care. Down below the video player, ladies and gentlemen, that's your chance if you'd like to comment on the decision of the owners of Bob Baffert horses not to switch trainers. I have my own opinion. That's for another show. All I can tell you is these horses are running, and they're in the pari-mutuel race now, so they're gonna be they're gonna be on the tote board, and so obviously we got to talk about it. So here is the field right there. Again, the money line favorite is gonna be very obvious. It's gonna be Nysos. This is an unbelievably talented 3-year-old. Baffert is putting Pratt on this one. He's got Totori on Coach Prime. Great name if you're a fan of University of Colorado or Deion Sanders. And, of course, he has J.J. Hernandez on Wind Me Up. We are both going with the obvious here. We're not messing around. We're going with Nysos. What is it about Nysos that you love so much here in this race, Noah?
Well, what is it about Nysos that you don't like? I mean, he's pretty much he's done everything right. Broke the maiden with fashion. And he ran in the Bob Hope, and I was thinking to myself, there's no way he can repeat that number, can he? Oh, he did. And he did it very impressively as well. I mean, it was a 4-horse field, but that's him three wide, and Pratt, because Kyle Frey rode the first time, then Pratt hopped on in the Bob Hope, and Pratt just, never really moved a muscle. And once he hit the top of the stretch, you knew that he was going to open it up by a wide margin.
It doesn't look like Noah by the visual, by everything. I mean, look at this. He's cantering.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says he cannot get 2 turns or even, mile and eighth or mile a quarter, whatever. He's not going to be running the Derby. This looks like a complete freak. And he's in a real good spot again. And the nice thing about Baffert running several horses in a race like this, and probably a few others, is this horse can rate. But I'm sure Baffert's going to do everything he can to make sure other Baffert horses don't get in his way, so to speak. So that doesn't mean that Baffert's going to tell the other guys, on Coach Prime and on the one, just let Nysos do whatever he wants. But if Nysos breaks well, they're not going to fight him, is what I'm saying. Now, there are other horses in the race, but you got a few horses that are definitely not going to get in his way, and that even accentuates his very low odds. I'm looking at like 1-5 here in the spot.
Yeah, and if you're Pratt, you don't need to duel with somebody and mess with it. You've got the best horse. I mean, if somebody wants to go, they can go. You can just sit right off of them and then just prove you're the better horse.
Yeah, and you've got the one Wind Me Up who we saw. Look, he's running some tough races. He did no running in the juvenile. He was okay in the Los Al Futurity. I got to admit, I'm pretty much against him in this race, but you must see something that I don't. So why do you like him for second here?
Well, I hope that JJ just goes to the lead. I think, he did that in his first two races. And he ran a decent second to Muth in the American Pharaoh. And then, he was a little over his head in the juvenile. And in the Los Al Futurity, I know that wasn't a great race. And it looked like JJ kind of tried to send a little bit, but the winner Winstock was pretty fast from the inside that day as well, and he was a little forced to sit. I just don't think that's what this horse wants to do. And from the rail, I think JJ is going to have to send a little bit anyways. So he might be the rabbit for Nysos, but if Wind Me Up gets a pretty clear lead, I think he can stick around.
There's only one horse in this race to me that even has a remote chance to beat Nysos. I'll tell you what, I like Coach Prime quite a bit. If Nysos was in this race, this would be my top pick for sure. And Noah, you and I have been watching some workouts recently on XBTV, and I'm not going to show it now. I don't want to deal with any copyright issues or anything. But on January 7th, let me go full screen. On January 7th, see this work on the bottom of the screen, a little hard to see, but it's handily second best of 71. Coach Prime worked with Nysos. Coach Prime was pretty much right with him the entire way. I really like what I saw visually. He did not run well last time because he was 4-5 and lost to Winstock. But, as you know, and you're 20 minutes away from Los Al at home when you're at home. Los Al's sort of a weird track, right? It's got that weird, like little right hand bend before you go. It's just a weird surface. Maybe he didn't take to it. I mean, he was unbelievable in breaking his main at Del Mar. I think this horse is pretty talented. He gets blinkers off, which is interesting. I'm guessing Dettori and Bob's going to tell Dettori, let Nysos go. And he's going to sit off of Wind Me Up and Nysos and whoever else and maybe make a late run. He was up a little more up close last time I think he wanted to be. This is a really nice horse, and he needs to be. He cost $1.7 million for Zedin Racing. So this would be my horse to maybe upset the field. I'm actually going to use this horse as a B as in boy. I'm just going 6A, 5B. I'm not interested in anyone else in this race, even though Better Than Gold did win for me last time as an upset. He just seems way too slow, even if the pace is fast, Noah.
Yeah, I didn't have Better Than Gold anywhere. Last time and ended up going 2 turns second time out. But it just it looks on paper that the horse had some late kick, but I think that was the case of the leaders kind of coming back to him.
Yeah, and Stronghold, who ran really well in that Los Al race, is D'Amato with blinkers on. So, look, there is some speed in this race, but it just feels like Nysos can do anything he wants. And I'm going to hold off my opinion on Bob Baffert in general. I have a ton of respect for the guy. I don't want to get into nonsense of what's going on with Churchill and everything right now. And Mike, I have strong opinions on the owners that are staying with Baffert instead of your one only chance to win the Kentucky Derby with a particular horse. I think you can understand where I'm starting to go with the comment. It seems a little crazy. But anyway, that being said, they're staying with their guy. It sure looks like it is going to be a Nysos processional on Saturday. Let's go to race 8, Noah. Again, we're jumping to race 8 now, which is the next stake. And again, I do need your top 3. It's going to be the Thunder Road. Who are your top 3 in the Thunder Road so I can put that on the screen, Noah?
Top 3 are 5, 2, 6.
Noah's going 5, 2, 6 in race 8, the grade 3 Thunder Road. And my picks, I'm going 5, 6, 3. Let's go ahead and bring up race 8, the Thunder Road, grade 3, $100,000, 1 mile on the turf. 4-year-olds and up. We got a field of 8. Again, we don't have a morning line here. I am going to, this is a little bit more tricky. I believe the morning line is going to be either the number 5 Tio Magico or another D'Amato Prince Obama. No relation to the former president, which of course is Obama. D'Amato's also has Balnikov in this race, so he's got 3 in here. No, we're both going to go with Tio Magico. There's also a horse named Goliad who punched us in the Goliads last time, if you remember that horse, Noah.
Yeah.
Because I think what was there, a pick 6 that day and a big carryover, and we didn't love that horse, and that horse wired the field. Sorry to bring us some bad memories. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah, I do. I believe it was I think it was the Coast to Coast that carried over?
That's what it was, the Coast to Coast, yeah. It was a carryover day in the Coast to Coast. Yeah. Anyway, we're both going to go with Tio Magico, who's an Ontario bred. Again, D'Amato's got 3. Pratt's riding this one. As I switch to the PPs, let's talk about Tio Magico. Turning back, Noah, I like this horse a lot. I have some minor concerns. I'll let you talk first.
I do too. This was a pretty soft pick for me. The thing that kind of inclined me to pick him on top was just the fact that I think he's probably just going to be sitting right off the 6, and once I hit the top of the stretch, I think he's just going to go by and hopefully he can hold off others. I think he might be a little bit better going longer. You never like to see that the horse that you're on is 0 for 5 at the distance and only 1/3. And another slight concern for me was, last time in the San Gabriel was his first time in graded stakes company. And maybe it's a little disappointing, but maybe he's just not that kind of quality. So where he's going to be placed is probably going to be perfectly fine. Whether he's good enough is the question for me.
Yeah, you took a lot of words out of my mouth. Let's look at the time for him. I mean, obviously Goliad's on the lead. They do have the 5, probably where we want this 5 to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just sitting off a few lengths. But as you mentioned very astutely, that's my concern, is that I think he's better a 1 1/8 miles. This might be a little too sharp for him. And sort of a weird angle that I want you to consider, Noah, and some people at home. I don't like when you've got the main speed right to your outside. And then one reason is because you never know. Speed horses tend to lean a little bit. Like this horse could come over on Tio Magico a little bit and maybe pinch him, not on purpose, but just crap happens. That's an angle that I have learned in handicapping is underrated. I would much prefer Tio Magico to be 2, 3, 4 slots inside of Goliad or on the outside than just to his inside. Again, we don't know how they're going to break, but I do want to bring that up. To me, Pratt is a smart guy, Noah. He'll put this horse where he needs to be. And look, you talk about the last race. Easter would be 3 to 5 in this spot. So yeah. Easter is really good for D'Amato, right? D'Amato is now training Easter. Used to be trained by Grand Motion out east. So Easter is the best male turf horse right now on the West Coast, I think is fair to say. So I agree. I'm going to Magical also. I hope he's not too far back. I personally have Goliad second, even though he was sort of life and death to hold on and win last time. Man, he just looks loose. He looks loose again. Although, no, I think this is a better field than the last time. And one reason why it's probably better than last time is a horse like Prince Obama, who you have second, who is off a layoff for D'Amato, with Maldonado taking over in the irons on Saturday.
Yeah, I've always thought that Prince Obama was very talented. I think he's also got the ability to be a little bit more tactical. Of course, the concern for Prince Obama is, if you play California a lot, I feel like the more you pay attention to the jockey, musical chairs or whatchamacallit. Yeah. So of course you'd like Pratt on this horse, but you don't get him. You get Maldonado, who's just fine. I kind of like that a little bit just because Maldonado's more of an aggressive guy. So he might get this horse a little more involved early. D'Amato's a guy who's proven to. It's the same in the turf race we were talking about earlier. He's proven to bring horses that can win, off of a layoff. So that's not really a concern for me. Just whether or not the horse will be ready.
if Pratt was on this horse and Maldonado was on the 5, I'd pick Prince Obama. You nailed it right on the head. I'm not going to show the stat, but I'm pretty sure because I looked it up. Last 5 years, Noah, Maldonado's only ridden 2 horses for D'Amato in stake races, just 2 in the last 5 years. So this feels like he's just giving this horse one. I have a very hard time believing Prince Obama is completely cranked up and ready. This feels like a prep for something longer in his next start. I could be wrong, Noah. I have to look at the workout report. It feels to me that way. And then I've got Balnikov third. And look, when I saw the fractions of the Joe Hernandez last time, I was like, that can't be right. That was right. The turf was a little bit wet, but not that wet. 24-48 and a 6.5 furlong race. It wasn't down the hill, Noah. It was on the out of the chute. But Balnikov had no chance in that race. There was no speed in that race. He was bottled up. He did no running. And even if you go 3 back, look, he's not a 6.5 furlong horse. Look at his races 2 back and 4 back. Mile 16th at a mile, he's running 95, 94, 96 with 117 and 121 time form US. Now, maybe he's lost a step for Little Red Feather. I don't know. But he's got Fresu. There is more speed in this race. I don't think there's a speed duel, but there is more speed. He's going out to his distance. I don't sleep on Balnikov in this race, despite the dirtied up form in this race. And then you've got Goliad third. Any comments on Goliad or Balnikov? We'll move on.
Balnikov is a horse I'm very familiar with. I have chased that horse quite a bit. Yeah, I agree with the statement there in the Hernandez. I was definitely, I was like blinking my eyes to see if I read those fractions right, and sure enough, that was it. I've got Goliad in third, but I'm definitely a little against Goliad, even though he is lone speed, or at least it looks like it. He ran a buyer top last time at age 7, so that's a little bit of concern for me. And it just seems like if you breathe on this horse, he kind of tends to fold. So if there are some horses that decide to press even a little bit, I think that's going to make it all the much harder for him.
This is a horse I'd love to toss complete, Noah, but I just looked at this race, inside and out. I don't know who's going to breathe on him. I don't know. And Great King, by the way, who almost beat Goliad last time, I'm personally against. I just want to mention this horse because he is a fresh face on the West Coast as of the last race. Almost ran down Goliad, got a perfect dream trip, and still couldn't run down Goliad. And I just feel like there's better horses in this race, Noah, than there were in the last one. So Great King's not impossible, but it just seemed like he had everything his own way last time, and I'm not sure that's going to happen this time.
Yeah, well, it was interesting the tactics last time because it looked like at Monmouth and at Belmont at Aqueduct he seemed to be one that pressed the pace.
Yeah.
And then when you looked at the time form a couple of minutes ago, it looked like he was going to be right up there. So it'll be interesting to see what Frankie does.
He might be the one that's pressing Goliad, but in a weird way, Noah, if he presses Goliad, I actually think that's going to help horses like Balnikov and Tio Magico. And so Great King might be better laying off and trying to finish in this race, because if he presses Goliad, he's going to use up more of his energy, and then he's got to hold off others. So you're right. Dettori is a pretty good jockey. I think he knows what he's doing, but Great King is like the pure wild card. I mean, he could win. I wouldn't be shocked. I just think he's going to need a lot of things to go his way in this race.
Yeah, he is. And last time he popped that 93. But he was 13-1, and you hadn't really seen that number. So if you're going to make the case against him, that's it.
Who do you have in the Santa Monica, which is the last race we're going to talk about tonight, race 9 on Saturday?
I've got 3-6-1.
3-6-1. All right. And by the way, I just promised everyone we do not talk before the show, but great minds think alike. We're both going with the 3. There you go, Noah. I have I didn't mean to take that down. I have a pretty strong opinion in this race, but I'm going to let you talk first. Let's go through the race. Race 9, the last stake race of the day at Santa Anita on Saturday, is the Santa Monica, grade 2. This is for the girls, the older girls. 7 furlongs on the dirt, 200K in the kitty. It's a small field of 6. I'm guessing the morning line favorite will either be number 2, Kirsten Bach for Sadler and Barrios, or the outside Florida bred number 6, Hot Peppers for D'Amato and JJ. I'm really not sure which one's going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be one of those two. We're not going with either one. We're going to go with Three Witches, a new acquisition in the McCarthy barn for our guy Flavian, a 5-year-old mare. What do you like about Three Witches in the Santa Monica?
I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but I think Three Witches is going to sit a really nice trip in here. Obviously, Hot Peppers is going to be the one on the lead, and I just don't really know if she's the same. She came back in the Las Flores, and she just didn't really. I mean, she ran an okay second, but she just didn't. She never really looked like she was super comfortable, or I don't know.
Let's look
Maybe
at
she
that
just
race
needed
real
one.
quick. Sorry to interrupt you. Let's look. Chismosa, who is the Chismosa, is the 5
Mm-hmm.
on Saturday. We're looking at the 2 and the 4 now. Hot Peppers was off a layoff and was pressed quite a bit off a pretty long layoff by Sweet Azteca here. The 3. This did not help Hot Peppers at all, and you see the upset winner is right here, the 4 horse Chismosa, who is in the race on Saturday. Hot Peppers wants to be left alone on the lead. Noah, she wasn't. I do want to give Hot Pepper some credit because, as you're going to see, she does re-rally when Sweet
Mm-hmm.
Azteca goes wide. My general feeling of this race is a lot of meh. It was sort of an ugly
Mm-hmm.
finish to me. I don't really like Chismosa or Hot Peppers necessarily on Saturday, although I think Hot Peppers on the inside does have the right to improve quite a bit more than Chismosa, in my opinion, Saturday.
Yeah, this was kind of a weird race to begin with because you see Dettori and Sweet Azteca blow the turn there, and kind of left the gap for Chismosa. And you're right, Hot Peppers, she does fight, but ultimately Chismosa kind of had she was able to save ground with the horse veering out, and she had kind of the momentum at that point. So she was able to get the job done there. I agree. I wasn't really a huge fan of that race. So I ended up going with Three Witches, who's off of Safi. Michael McCarthy, he's been a little colder than he normally is, and based off the stats, he's not great with those new acquisitions. But the fact that Pratt's not gonna hop on a new horse, just he's gonna hop on a horse that's gonna be live.
We can say it for shits and giggles. We can say it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Cost 1.7 million, by the way, Noah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, is it just me, or are we seeing a lot of very expensive horses running these days, and a lot of them are good? Because when they cost 1.7, they aren't necessarily going to work out. Although this one is just won a measly 300,000, which if you and I owned a horse that won 300,000, we'd be ecstatic until we look at our bills and realize we had to cough a 1.7 at the sale. Safi is an excellent trainer, obviously. I like the fact, and you can see here on the screen, I very much like the fact that McCarthy's had some time to acclimate this horse, Noah, to California. Because
Mm-hmm.
if this horse had just ran, and also, by the way, ran in the Breeders' Cup, it actually ran pretty well, finishing
Mm-hmm.
third to Goodnight Olive. So this horse has already been out to Santa Anita. That my fault. I didn't even recognize that right away. You would think she's going to improve. And in terms of race flow, Hot Peppers is going to have the lead. I don't need to show the time form US, but with a 119 time form, I don't know if she really wants 7. I think she might be better a little bit shorter. And it looks like Three Witches is the one. I know there's only a 68 early time form. I got a feeling Three Witches and Pratt's gonna be up a little bit closer than it looks on paper. At least I hope so. And I just see a scenario in which Three Witches sits off, maybe a few lengths off, sort of like Tio Magico, the dirt version of Tio Magico,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the classiest, best horse going forward. Although I do want to give some love to number 2, Kirsten Bach, who did win for me as an upset in the Chillingworth when there was a lot of speed in that race. They went 43-3 that day, September 29th, and she upset the field. They're not going to be going that fast this time. She's very honest, but feels like she's got 5 seconds, 2/3. I mean, she'll win also. I don't know. There's not a lot of speed in this race in terms of horses battling. And Kirsten Bosch sort of feels like, to me, needs a lot of things to go her way to win, even though she's very honest.
Yeah, that was pretty much why I was against her. I mean, the only time she's won recently was when they did run that, 21-3, 43-3. And there were a couple that were kind of dueling with each other. Ida was one of them that day. I tell you what, you're not getting those fractions in this race.
No.
And she's going to have a lot of work, on her hands or her hooves, whatever. But yeah, that was why I was a little bit against her, but I'm going to use her obviously in ABC. I think, small field, but I think it's a tough race.
Yeah. Then real quick, you want to talk about Click Issue? You got third, and then we'll wrap up the show. D'Amato, of course. Would you have like D'Amato's number in your cell or what?
Yeah, I need to get him on Quick Dial or something here.
There you go.
But last time, shockingly, this is a really nice D'Amato that's not on turf. She tried the turf last time against Ruby Nell, Justique, and a couple others, and it just wasn't for her. This is quite a big step up, and she might be a little slow in here. But I just like the way that she was kind of moving. She was progressing. The race 2 back, I was really impressed with. I was actually there that day. I believe that was Thanksgiving Day. I just really was impressed with that. And if she can progress off that, she's going to be a little more forwardly placed, maybe sit right off Hot Peppers. Maybe she can stick around.
She's got 2 angles I like: turf to dirt, turn backs. I like both those angles. 7 furlongs might be a little sharp for her. I have her as a C. I respect your opinion. I'm not sure. I like Kimura, etc. It's an interesting race. As we wrap it up, that will take care of our 4 stake races at Santa Anita on Saturday. And it's going to be a very exciting day. Hopefully the weather's going to cooperate. Again, the turf might be, not quite as firm as normal. It's going to be very interesting to see. Any final thoughts you want to throw out there? There's a lot of big 3-year-old races on Saturday throughout the country. I know you just did a video of Gulfstream for Betting and Boozing with a horse. Let's see, what's his name? Fierceness. What odds is Fierceness going to be in the Holy Bull on Saturday at Gulfstream, Noah?
He's going to be 10 cents, maybe less.
Wow. Yeah. He's going to win by just pick your number. It sure looks like the setting. Well, anyway, Noah, thanks for joining us here on Picks and Ponies. For my friend and co-host of Betting and Boozing, Noah Maher, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 329 of Picks and Ponies, Santa Anita edition. Hope you enjoyed this show. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button and comment down below the video player on who's going to win the Robert B. Lewis. And if you want to comment about the Baffert situation, go ahead, feel free. We will not delete your comments. Crush your bets at Santa Anita this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.